Islamic culture. The Islamic cultures have no idea of AI at all, so they are going to lose anyway. So.
Yeah, but I think they are. You think Europe is more pacifist or after World War II? We
are more pacifist, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a pacifist, so definitely. So
after World War II,
I think a lot of people have misunderstood Western Europe. So Western Europe, like even in the United Kingdom, a lot of people think it's a secular country. It's actually technically still an Anglican country, but it's given. But it's a freedom of religion has been given, so everyone is equal, and they are free to practice their religion within the.
Did we settle that consciousness is just a matter, no pun intended, of matter, or is consciousness is that a settled position yet in the room?
If it's a higher form, is it a higher form of reaction?
The whole scientific establishment contradicts us.
I think
because there's a big literature on the hard problem of consciousness, and no one claims that this problem is solved.
German, something I can tell you, the most scientific book that I've actually read is the Quran. I suggest you stick to it. It's the best source of science you're ever going to get. It should be, in fact, brought into all the schools. Everyone should be taught the Quran. And all the other, scientific books, Einstein, Newton, chuck that all bullshit away. Let's just have the Quran as the only source of science.
Okay, can I say something? Because in philosophy, we have these things called categories, right? So there's different categories of things. For example, the Islam falls into theology. It's a religion, it's a book of guidance, it's a way of life, it's about theology, which is its own category, right? Science and history, these are different things. The Quran's not a book of history, it's not a book of science. It contains these things, right? So Islam is a religion. So what you're doing is you're committing a categorical fallacy by comparing two things from different
categories. You're telling me there's a book that's got an answer for everything?
You don't think
when I asked you the question, what is God made? What is the substance that God is made of? When you yourself told us that there's a substance God is made out of, you couldn't answer that one.
Obviously, so the Holy Spirit.
Why did you not understand the analogy earlier to tell you, to explain to you? You can speak intelligently about something.
Okay, let's go back to some serious conversation.
I said this guy, Jason, I told this guy earlier on, I could speak to you, but remember Jason used an analogy. You can speak intelligently about something without fully understanding it. I will explain that to you, but you still mentioned that.
Did I not ask you if your God is abstract or material?
Oh, that's great.
And then you said your God is substance. And then when I asked you what substance is your God, you were not able to answer that one.
If you will. I haven't heard Frank's voice. Frank, what are you saying?
Hi, my boy. If you
How's it going?
Okay, Jason.
Yes.
You are a dead in the sin that you have a girl. Okay? It's okay. So, me, I was a boy. And my dad was a Muslim. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. And what the fuck? What the fuck? In the sense that my mom was a Catholic.
So your dad was a Muslim and your mom was a Catholic?
Absolutely, Jason. So what do you do? What do you do in this instance?
Become a Jew.
Oh, why not? It would be cool. Maybe Hindu.
You're missing
Hindu.
You're just missing the trifecta of the Abrahamic religions. That's it. So you just need to
go ahead and land that plane.
Just go ahead and get that Judaism in you, and then you'll be.
I think Frank has been affected by the Spirit today. Spirit is strong in him.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
It's okay to get mocked, but I really had these parents.
Yeah, Frank, do you have a speech impediment by any chance?
Sorry, can you repeat?
I said, do you have a speech impediment?
No, he's French. Leave him alone.
His problem is his French.
Jason.
Yes.
His froggies.
Listen to that to Uncle Frank. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen to Uncle.
Because I can't tell if you have a speech impediment or you're drunk and foreign. So I can't tell which one is which.
My question is, Jason, why are you so mocking?
So what?
Mocking?
I don't. It's okay.
No,
He said, why are you so mocking?
Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm not mocking. Yeah, so I was. No. I wasn't mocking, Frank. I was asking because I don't want to say rude stuff to you if you have a speech impediment. But if you're just drunk and foreign, then I could just talk shit the whole time.
Yes, Jason. Please tell us, Jason.
So I was just trying to make sure.
JCC, hi JCC, how are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm good, Frank. How's it going, dude?
So you know this guy, JCC?
Yeah,
I've heard him talk a couple times.
but
Does he normally sound like this, or this is how he comes off?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
Frank at natural chord.
Oh, okay.
Okay, JCC, yes, boy, my boy.
Okay, Frank, can you do you have an idea of what consciousness is? Can you break that down for us? Yeah.
Jason, are you white or black?
It's Jason.
Jason, sorry, Jason.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a newcomer for me. Jason,
Mm-hmm.
Jason,
Yes, that's me.
are you black or white?
I don't see color.
Okay, you are. So I presume you must be black guy. Hey,
Well,
Michael Jackson.
Frank, what do you call somebody that's in the middle? Because I'm not.
If you don't mind, let me just quickly chip in. So Tony is not.
Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve, etch and mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will of love as he will, when, where, and with whom ye will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law. Love under will. The law of the strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Therian, Frater Putter Abo, Alistair Crowley, the Master, Alistair Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve at your mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will of love as you will, when, where, and with whom you will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law. Love under will. The law of the strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Therian, Frater Putter Abo, Alistair Crowley, the Master, Alistair Crowley. Man has the right to live by his own law, to live in the way that he wills to do, to work as he will, to play as he will, to rest as he will, to die when and how he will. Man has the right to eat what he will, to drink what he will, to dwell where he will, to move as he will on the face of the earth. Man has the right to think what he will, to speak what he will, to write what he will, to draw, paint, carve at your mold, build as he will, to dress as he will. Man has the right to love as he will, take your fill and will of love as he will, when, where, and with whom you will. Man has the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. The slave shall serve. Love is the law. Love under will. The law of the strong. This is our law and the joy of the world. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay. Every man and every woman is a star. There is no God but man. The rights of man, Master Therian, Frater Putter Abo, Alistair Crowley, the Master, Alistair Crowley. Carthage, though a commercial republic, was the aggressor. in the very war that ended in her destruction. Hannibal had carried her arms into the heart of Italy, and to the gates of Rome before Scipio in turn gave him an overthrow in the territories of Carthage and made a conquest of the Commonwealth. Venice in later times figured more than once in wars of ambition, till becoming an object to the other Italian states. Pope Julius too found means to accomplish that formidable lead, which gave a deadly blow to the power and pride of this haughty republic. The provinces of Holland, until they were overwhelmed in debts and taxes, took a leading and conspicuous part in the wars of Europe. They had furious contest with England for the dominion of the sea, and were among the most persevering and most implacable of the opponents of Louis XIV. In the government of Britain, the representatives of the people compose one branch of the national legislature. Commerce has been for ages the predominant pursuit of that country. Few nations, nevertheless, have been more frequently engaged in war. And the wars in which that kingdom has been engaged have, in numerous instances, proceeded from the people. There have been, if I may so express it, almost as many popular as royal wars. The cries of the nation and the importunities of their representatives upon various occasions dragged their monarchs into war or continued them in it, contrary to their inclinations, and sometimes contrary to the real interest of the state. In that memorable struggle for superiority between the rival houses of Austria and Barbary, which so long kept Europe in a flame, it is well known that the antipathies of the English against the French, seconding the ambition, or rather the avarice, of a favorite leader, and protracted the war beyond the limits marked out by sound policy, and for considerable time in opposition to the views of the court. The wars of these two last-mentioned nations have in a great measure grown out of commercial considerations, the desire of supplanting and the fear of being supplanted, either in particular branches of traffic or in the general advantages of trade and navigation. From this summary of what has taken place in other countries, whose situations have borne the nearest resemblance to our own, what reason can we have to confide in those reveries, which would seduce us into an expectation of peace? Between the members of the present Confederacy in a state of separation. Have we not already seen enough of the fallacy and extravagance of those idle theories which have amused us with promises of an exemption from the imperfections, weaknesses, and evils incident to society in every shape? Is it not time to awake from the deceitful dream of a golden age and to adopt as a practical maxim for the direction of our political conduct that we, as well as the other inhabitants of the globe, are yet remote from the happy empire of perfect wisdom and perfect virtue? Let the point of extreme depression to which our national dignity and credit have sunk. Let the inconveniences felt everywhere from a lax and ill administration of government. Let the revolt of a part of the state of North Carolina, the late menacing disturbances in Pennsylvania, and the actual insurrections and rebellions in Massachusetts declare. There's 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 and 1 and 1 and 8. First, let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid thus thou mayst abort, the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next, let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, sway softly as a well to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense, observe its entity. Watch every thought that springs in hands, hour after hour thy vigilance, intense and keen turned inwardness, no atom of analysis. 6 on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind, so like a flame straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word.
Next, still that ecstasy prolong, that meditation steep and strong, slaying even God should he distract thy attention from the chosen act.
Last, all these things in one or power time, at the midnight blossom flower, the oneness is yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss.
If thou restrain the expression, shoot thy glance to rapture's darkling root, discarding name, form, sight, and stress, even of this high consciousness. Pierce to the heart, I leave thee here, thou art the master I revere. Thy radiance that rolls afar, O brother of the silver star.
There are 7 keys to great gate, being 8 and 1 and 1 and 8. First, let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid thus thou mayst abort, the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next, let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, sway softly as a well to love be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense, observe its entity. Watch every thought that springs in hands, hour after hour thy vigilance, intense and keen turned inwardness, no atom of analysis.
6 on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind, so like a flame straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word. Next, still that ecstasy prolong, thy meditation steep and strong,
Slaying even God should he distract thy attention from the chosen act. Last, all these things in one or power time, that the midnight blossom flower, the one that is yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss. So like a flame straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word. Next, till that ecstasy prolong, thy meditation deep and strong, slaying even God should he
shall not do amiss.
Federalist No. 7. The same subject continued, concerning dangers from dissensions between the states. For the Independent Journal, Alexander Hamilton. To the people of the state of New York, it is sometimes asked, with an air of seeming triumph, what inducements could the states have, if disunited, to make war upon each other? It would be a full answer to this question to say, precisely the same inducements which have at different times deluged in blood all the nations in the world. But unfortunately for us, the question admits of a more particular answer. There are causes of differences within our immediate contemplation, of the tendency of which, even under the restraints of a federal constitution, we have had sufficient experience to enable us to form a judgment of what might be expected if those restraints were removed. Territorial disputes have at all times been found one of the most fertile sources of hostility among nations. Perhaps the greatest proportion of wars that have desolated the earth have sprung from this origin. This cause would exist among us in full force. We have a vast tract of unsettled territory within the boundaries of the United States. There still are discordant and undecided claims between several of them, and the dissolution of the Union would lay a foundation for similar claims between them all. It is well known that they have heretofore had serious and animated discussion concerning the rights to the lands which were ungranted at the time of the Revolution, and which usually went under the name of Crown lands. The states within the limits of whose colonial governments they were comprised have claimed them as their property. The others have contended that the rights of the Crown in this article devolved upon the Union, especially as to all that part of the Western Territory which, either by actual possession or through the submission of the Indian proprietors, was subjected to the jurisdiction of the King of Great Britain, till it was relinquished in the Treaty of Peace. This, it has been said, was at all events an acquisition to the Confederacy by compact with a foreign power. It has been the prudent policy of Congress to appease this controversy by prevailing upon the states to make cessions to the United States for the benefit of the whole. This has been so far accomplished as, under a continuation of the Union, to afford a decided prospect of an amicable termination of dispute. A dismemberment of the Confederacy, however, would revive this dispute and would create others on the same subject. At present, a large part of the vacant Western Territory is, by cession at least, if not by any anterior right, the common property of the Union. If that were at an end, the states which made the cession on a principle of federal compromise would be apt when the motive of the grant had ceased to reclaim the lands as a reversion. The other states would no doubt insist on a proportion, by right of representation. Their argument would be that a grant once made could not be revoked, and that the justice of participating in territory acquired or secured by the joint efforts of the Confederacy remained undiminished. If, contrary to probability, it should be admitted by all the states that each had a right to a share of this common stock, there would still be a difficulty to be surmounted as to a proper rule of apportionment. Different principles would be set up by different states for this purpose, and as they would affect the opposite interests of the parties, they might not easily be susceptible of a pacific adjustment.
Because when once an efficient national government is established, the best men in the country will not only consent to serve, but also will generally be appointed to manage it. For although town or country or other contracted influence may place men in state assemblies, or senates, or courts of justice, or executive departments, yet more general and extensive reputation for talents and other qualifications will be necessary to recommend men to offices under the national government, especially as it will have the widest field for choice, never experienced the want of proper persons, or which is not uncommon in some of the states. Hence, it will result that the administration, the political councils, and the judicial decisions of the national government will be more wise, systematical, and judicious than those of individual states, and consequently more satisfactory with respect to other nations, as well as more safe with respect to us. Because under the national government, treaties and articles of treaties, as well as the laws of nations, will always be expounded in one sense and executed in the same manner, whereas adjudications on the same points and questions in 13 states or in 3 or 4 confederacies will not always accord or be consistent, and that as well from a variety of independent courts and judges appointed by different and independent governments, as from the different local laws and interests which may affect and influence them. The wisdom of the convention in committing such questions to the jurisdiction judgment of courts appointed by and responsible only to one national government cannot be too much commended, because the prospect of present loss or advantage may often tempt the governing party in 1 or 2 states to swerve from good faith and justice, but those temptations not reaching the other states, and consequently having little or no influence on the national government, temptation will be fruitless, and good faith and justice be preserved. The case of a treaty of peace with Britain adds great weight to this reasoning, because even if the governing party in a state should be disposed to resist such temptations, yet as such temptations may and commonly do result from circumstances peculiar to the state, and may affect a great number of the inhabitants, the governing party may not always be able, if willing, to prevent the injustice meditated, or to punish the aggressors. But the national government, not being affected by those local circumstances, will neither be induced to commit the wrong themselves, nor want power or intimation, perfect influence or punish its commission by others.
suppress faction and to guard the internal tranquility of states, as to increase their external force and security, is in reality not a new idea. It has been practiced upon in different countries and ages, and has received the sanction of the most approved writers on the subject of politics. The opponents of the plan proposed have, with great assiduity, cited and circulated observations of Montesquieu on the necessity of a contracted territory for a republican government, but they seem not to have been apprised of the sentiments of that great man expressed in another part of his work, nor to have adverted to the consequences of the principle to which they subscribe with such ready acquiescence. When Montesquieu recommends a small extent for republics, the standards he had in view were of dimensions far short of the limits of almost every one of these states. Neither Virginia, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New York, North Carolina, nor Georgia can by any means be compared with the models from which he reasoned and to which the terms of his description apply. If we therefore take his ideas on this point as the criterion of truth, we shall be driven to the alternate either of taking refuge at once in the arms of monarchy, or of splitting ourselves into an infinity of little jealous, clashing, tumultuous commonwealths, the wretched nurseries of unceasing discord, and the miserable objects of universal pity or contempt. Some of the writers who have come forward on the other side of the question seem to have been aware of the dilemma, and have even been bold enough to hint at the division of the larger states as a desirable thing. Such an infatuated policy, such a desperate expedient might, by the multiplication of petty offices, answer the views of men who possess not qualifications to extend their influence beyond the narrow circles of personal intrigue. But it could never promote the greatness or happiness of the people of America. Not a new observation that the people of any country, if like the Americans intelligent and well-informed, and steadily persevere for many years in an erroneous opinion respecting their interest, the consideration naturally tends to create great respect for the high opinion which the people of America have so long and uniformly entertained of the importance of their continuing firmly united under one federal government vested with sufficient powers for all general and national purposes. The more attentively I consider and investigate the reasons which appear to have given birth to this opinion, the more I become convinced that they are cogent and conclusive. Among the many objects to which a wise and free people find it necessary to direct their attention, that of providing for their safety seems to be the first. The safety of the people doubtless has relation to a great variety of circumstances and considerations, and consequently affords great latitude to those who wish to define it precisely and comprehensively. At present, I mean only to consider it as it respects security for the preservation of peace and tranquility, as well as against dangers from foreign arms and influence, as from dangers of the like kind arising from domestic causes. As the former of these comes first in order, it is proper, and should be the first discussed. Let us therefore proceed to examine whether the people are not right in their opinion that a cordial union under an efficient national government affords them the best security that can be devised against hostilities from abroad. The number of wars which have happened or will happen in the world will always be found to be in proportion to the number and weight of the causes, whether real or pretended, which provoke or invite them. If this remark be just, it becomes useful to inquire whether so many just causes of war are likely to be given by United America as by disuniting America. For if it should turn out that United America will probably give the fewest, then it will follow that in this respect the Union tends most to preserve the people in a state of peace with other nations. wide field of Western territory. Therefore, we perceive an ample theater for hostile pretensions, without any umpire or common judge to interpose between the contending parties, to reason from the
look at his teaching. It's
PTR.
Hey, Megatron, I have a question for you, Megatron.
Barthy there. It's kind of late. Well, it's only 8. It's about a little before 9 o'clock for him. I don't know if he's there.
Are you there, Megatron? Son to Megatron.
Ground control to Megatron.
Oh, most patient Megatron. Oh, most all-knowing Megatron. Oh, most all-wise Megatron, just and kind Megatron. Knower of all that is there to know. King of all kings, Megatron. Hear me now, Megatron.
So I'm cleaning my phone and unmuting myself.
So,
those Clorox wipes.
You know, JCC and Roivas, I don't want to let you guys in on a little secret since you guys are such staunch atheists, but Megatron's name is the secret name of Kitover, the crown in the Holy Kabbalah. And our presence with the crown, we are now the 4-pointed star of the Sephiroth. Ribono Shalom. Hello?
Pass to the future, we shall have good ground to apprehend that the sword would sometimes be appealed to as the arbiter of their differences. The circumstances of the dispute between Connecticut and Pennsylvania, respecting the land at Wyoming, admonish us not to be sanguine in expecting an easy accommodation of such differences. The Articles of Confederation oblige the parties to submit the matter to the decision of a federal court. The submission was made, and the court decided in favor of Pennsylvania. But Connecticut gave strong indications of dissatisfaction with that determination, nor did she appear to be entirely resigned to it, till, by negotiation and management, something like an equivalent was found for the loss she supposed herself to have sustained. Nothing here said is intended to convey the slightest censure on the conduct of that state. She no doubt sincerely believed herself to have been injured by the decision, and states, like individuals,
I'm sorry, were you guys talking? I had my...
Yeah, we're just bullshitting so people can't come in here.
I had my Suno playing. All right, well, gentlemen, I know I've made fun of you both a lot over the past couple of years for being low IQ, but that was all just for fun. The truth is you're stupid. You're not just low IQ. But I wanna hit the bell, and I want you guys to take the deepest breath of the day. Hold it for 10, not 11, 10, not 9 seconds. Here we go. Now grab your balls. Grab your balls with both your hands, and again, take the deepest breath of the day. Squeeze your balls. There you go. JCC, you of course can grab your clitoris. Go ahead.
JCC's trying to chill unfortunately, when Snowden is going to do this, we have no control. So, just Megatron's kind of MIA.
You know what is worse than stupid is being a white stupid, a white fucking people.
Yeah, but people are stupid.
They're trash, they're fucking trash. Fucking trash.
Stinky legs, they don't use washcloths.
They start to be cuckold, they like to see their wife there for the fans, especially black people. Like,
that's true, yes, that's true. That's my favorite thing.
Oh my god, I smell bad here, bro. I smell fucking bad. Damn.
Ribano Shalalama. Be at peace.
Smell bad, bro. I smell bad, and your place revise your fucking European fucking slut.
Wow.
Ah, shit. Don't tell me I'm fucking American. I hate Americans, bro. I hate this fucking American.
Yeah, most of the world does. Yeah.
Wow.
China all the way. China all the day, bro.
Amazing.
Yeah, but shut the fuck up. I'm not talking to you, white trash fucking slut.
That's right. I'm
Jesus.
But shut the fuck up, bro. Put 5 on your fucking mouth, the little fucking whore.
I need to be free of those telling me what to do in order to attain my real fulfillment.
Still talking because you're a white whore.
I'm just agreeing with you. I want you to know that here.
If I suppress my sensual impulses and urges, I may do harm to my natural development. I am a mature person. I can read whatever I wish, watch whatever kind of TV program or movies I wish. It doesn't affect me at all if I always say no to others in regard to sex or drugs or alcohol. I will never be accepted by others. I will never have any friends. I don't need confession. I haven't any graces. And besides, if I stay away more, there will be less danger of routine confessions. My prayers don't seem to be answered. Seem to be answered. So what is the use of praying? My conscience is the only guide I need. As long as I am at peace with my conscience, I need not worry. Even if some of my acts and decisions are not always with the teachings of church so on without end is the cleverness of the evil one in exploiting our weaknesses, our likes and dislikes. I need to be free of those telling me what to do in order to attain my real fulfillment. If I suppress my sensual impulses and urges, I may do harm to my natural development. I am a mature person. I can read whatever I wish, watch whatever
us. We have His biblical promise in Romans 5:20 that we're sin increase, grace abounded all the more. There is no doubt that sin is increasing today everywhere we look, so we know that there is an abundance of grace raining down from heaven on each and every one of us as well. But our sins and our pride act as umbrellas to keep the grace away from our soul. So let's pray for the grace to accept the grace. Today, let us resolve. Today, let us resolve. Today, let us resolve to accept the huge amount of graces that God is raining down on us. We have His biblical promise in Romans 5:20 that sin increase, grace abounded all the more. There is no doubt that sin is increasing today everywhere we look, so we know that there is an abundance of grace raining down from heaven on each and every one of us as well. But our sins and our pride act as umbrellas to keep the graces away from our soul. So let's pray for the grace, to accept the graces. Today, let us resolve those. Today, let us resolve to accept the huge amount of graces that God is bringing down on us. We have His biblical promise in Romans 5:20 that we're sin increase, grace abounded all the more. There is no doubt that sin is increasing today everywhere we look, so we know that there is an abundance of grace raining down from heaven on each and every one of us as well. Dying to self, killing your ego, and living in the perfect imitation of Christ and Mary. When you are forgotten or neglected and you don't hurt with the insult, but your heart is happy, that is dying to self. When your advice is disregarded, your opinions ridiculed, and you refuse to let anger rise in your heart and take it all in patient, loving silence that is dying to self. When you lovingly and patiently bear disorder, irregularity, tardiness, and annoyance, and enduring as Jesus endured, that is dying to self. When you never hear to refer to yourself in conversation, or record your own good works, or itch for praise after an accomplishment, when you can truly love to be unknown. When you can see your brother or sister prosper and can honestly rejoice with them and feel no envy, even though your needs are greater, that is dying to serve. When you are content with any food, any offering, any ring, any climate, or any society, that is dying to self. When you can take correction, when you can humbly submit inwardly as well as outwardly, with no rebellion or resentment rising up within your heart, that is dying to self.
that is dying to self. When your advice is disregarded, your opinion's ridiculed, and you refuse to let anger rise in your heart and take it all in patience. Loving silence that is dying to self. When you lovingly and patiently bear disorder, irregularity, tardiness, and annoyance, and adore it as Jesus endured it, that is dying to self. When you never care to refer to yourself in conversation or record your own good works or reach for praise after an accomplishment, when you can truly love to be unknown, that is dying to self. When you can see your brother or sister prosper and can honestly rejoice with him and feel no envy, even though your needs are greater, that is dying to self. When you are content with any food, any offering, any raiment, any climate or any society, that is dying to self. When you can take correction, when you can humbly submit inwardly as well as outwardly, with no rebellion or resentment rising up within your heart,
yet in it do all creatures
that is dying to self.
names, fire, water, air, earth, in endless variety of mixture.
Frequent confession is the cause of great good to the soul, because it purifies it, heals it, and confirms it in the service of God. We ought not therefore to omit confession on our fixed days for any business whatsoever, but go to confession first, and to business afterwards, and the first will help the last. We ought to persuade ourselves to find Jesus Christ in the person of our confessor. Give me 10 men really detached from the world, and I have the heart to believe I could convert the world with them. He who communicates often as he ought to do brings forth good fruit, the fruit of humility, the fruit of patience, the fruit of all the virtues. 5 penitents are not to go to confession for temporal ends, to get alms and the like. We ought to make no account of him, the modest person, notwithstanding that he may possess other virtues. 7, the Holy Spirit says of parades and pastors. He who hears and obeys his superiors hears and obeys me, and he who despises them despises and disobeys me. If the servant of God would fain walk with more security through so many snares scattered in every place, he should have our Blessed Lady as his mediatrix with her son. I'm the sick man may desire to get well, provided he seals his desire always with an if it please God. If it is good for my soul, for we can do many good things in health which sickness hinders us from doing. 10 in sickness we ought to ask God to give us patience, because it often happens that when a man gets well, he not only does not do the good he proposed to do when he was sick, but he multiplies his sins and his ingratitude. The mole is a blind rat which always stays in the ground. It eats earth and hollows it out, but is never satisfied with it. So is the avaricious man or woman. 12 penitents who never make vows without the advice of their spiritual fathers. If we do make such vows, it is best to make them conditionally. For example, I make a vow to have 2 masses said on S. Lucy's day with this bargain: if I can, if I do not forget it, because if I do not remember it, I do not wish to be bound. I do not wish to be bound. I do not wish to be bound. not to do so because he is moved by an attachment to the thing, but from want and necessity, for it will never do to buy attachments. 15 certain little voluntary attachments of self-love must be cut through, and then we must dig round them and then remove the earth till we get down deep enough to find a place where they are rooted and interlaced together. 16, a person must be ready to endure, and through a virtuous motive he is mortified by others, and even when God permits him to be in bad odor with others and regarded and driven away as an infected sheep. 17, our enemy, the devil who fights with us in order to vanquish us, seeks to disunite us in the houses and to breed quarrels, dislikes, contests, and rivalries, because while we are fighting with each other, he comes and conquers us and makes us more securely his own.
Whose time of realization is
18, he who does not think on the benefits he received from God in this life, and on those greater ones his mercy has prepared in that other life of bliss, does not nourish love to God, but chills and freezes it. 19, if a soul could altogether abstain from venial sins, the greatest pain he could have would be to be detained in this life. So great would its desire be of union with God. 20, in the persecutions which bad men excite against piety and devotion, we must keep our eyes on God, whom we serve, and on the testimony of a good conscience. 21, how patiently Christ, the King and Lord of heaven and earth, bore with the apostles, enduring at their hands many incivilities and misbeliefs, they being but poor and rough fishermen. How much more ought we to bear with our neighbor if he treats us with civility? Let it be.
the names on Catholic.
We must give ourselves to God altogether.
Primal will, otherwise known
23, God makes all his own, the soul that is only given to it. As a general rule, a bad sign when a man has not a particular feeling of devotion on the chief feasts of the year.
Yes,
Let us reflect that the word left heaven and stoop to become man for us. 20. Besides pardoning those who persecute us, we ought to feel pity for the delusion they are laboring under. 27. To one who really loves God, there is nothing more harassing or burdensome than life. Is this another psycho?
The great thing is to become saints. In order to enter paradise, we must be well justified and well purified. Let the young man look after the flesh, and the old man after avarice, and we shall all be saints together. Where there is no great mortification, there is no great sanctity.
The sanctity of a man lies in the breadth of 3 fingers.
The forehead.
That is to say, in mortifying the understanding, which would fade reason upon things.
He who really wishes to become a saint must never defend himself, except in a few rare cases, but always acknowledge himself in fault, even when what is alleged against him is untrue.
What we know of the virtues of the saints is the least part of them.
The relics of the saints ought to be venerated, and we may laudably keep them in our room, but it is not well unless for some grave occasion to wear them on our persons, because it will often happen then that they are not treated with all the respect which is becoming. 9. The old patriarchs possessed riches and had wives and children, but they lived without defiling their affections with these things, although they possessed them, because they only allowed themselves the use of them and were ready to abandon them in whatever way the majesty of God might require of them. 10. We ought to pray God importunately to increase in us every day the light and heat of his goodness. 11. It is an old custom with the servants of God always to have some little prayers ready, and to be darting them up to heaven frequently during the day, lifting their minds to God from out of the filth of this world. He who adopts
Eventually, for the love of God, appear bitter at first, but they grow sweet when one gets accustomed to the taste.
The man who loves God with a true heart and prizes him above all things sometimes sheds floods of tears and prayer and has an abundance of favors and spiritual feelings coming upon him with such vehemence that he is forced to cry out, Lord, let me be quiet. But a man ought not to seek for these sweetnesses and sensible devotions forcibly, for he will be easily deluded by the devil and will run a risk of injuring his health. When the soul lies resignedly in the hands of God and is contented with the divine pleasure, it is in good hands and has the best security that good will happen to it.
To be entirely conformed and resigned to the divine will is truly a road in which we cannot get wrong, and is the only road which leads us to taste and enjoy that peace which sensual and earthly men know nothing of.
Indeed, resignation is all in all to the sick man. He ought to say to God, Lord, if you want me, here I am. Although I have never done any good, do with me what you will. 18, never make a noise of any sort in church, except for the greatest necessity. 19, patience is necessary for the servant of God, and we must not be distressed at trouble, but wait for consolation. When seculars have once chosen their secular state, let them persevere in it, and in the devout exercises which they have begun, and in their works of charity, and they shall have contentment at their death.
21.
The vocation to the religious life is one of the great benefits which the Mother of God obtains from her Son for those who are devoted to her.
22.
There is nothing more dangerous in the spiritual life than to wish to rule ourselves after our own way of thinking.
21.
Among the things we ought to ask of God is perseverance in well-doing and in serving the Lord, because if we only have patience and persevere in the good life we have begun to lead, we shall acquire a most eminent degree of spirituality.
20. He is perfect in the school of Christ, who despises being despised, rejoices in self-contempt, and accounts himself to be very nothingness.
The way which God takes with the souls that love him by allowing them to be tempted and to fall into tribulations is a true espousal between himself and them.
20. In passing from a bad state to a good one, there is no need of counsel, but in passing from a good one to a better time, counsel and prayer must go to decision. We must continually pray to God for the conversion of sinners, thinking of the joy there is in heaven both to God and the angels in the conversion of each separate sinner. To speak of ourselves without cause, saying, I have said, I have done, incapacitates us for receiving spiritual consolations. We ought to desire to be in such a condition as to want sixpence and not be able to get it. Let us despise gold, silver, jewels, and all that the blind and cheated world vainly and ignorantly prizes. Let us learn here below to give God the confession of praise which we ought to hope to give him in heaven above. He who wishes to go to paradise must be an honest man and a good Christian, and not give heed to dreams. 8 fathers and mothers of families should bring up their children virtuously, looking at them rather as God's children than their own, and to count life and health and all they possess as loans which they hold of God. In saying the Pater Noster, we ought to reflect that we have God for our Father in heaven, and so go on making a sort of meditation of it word by word. Tend to make ourselves disaffected to the things of the world. It is a good thing to think seriously of the end of them, saying to ourselves, and then 11. The devil, who is a most haughty spirit, is never more completely mastered than by humility of heart and a simple, clear, undisguised manifestation of our sins and temptations to our confessor. 12. We ought not ordinarily to believe prophecies or to desire them, because it is possible there may be many deceits and snares of the devil therein. It is a most useful thing, when we see another doing any spiritual good to his neighbor, to seek by prayer to have a part in that same good which the Lord is working by the hand of another. At communion, we ought to ask for the remedy of the vice to which we feel ourselves most inclined. 15. To him who truly loves God, nothing more displeasing can happen than the lack of occasion to suffer for him. 16. We ought to hate no one, for God never comes where there is no love of our neighbors. We must accept our own death and that of our relations when God shall send it to us, and not desire it at any other time, for it is sometimes necessary that it should happen at that particular moment for the good of our own and their soul. 18. The perfection of a Christian consists in knowing how to mortify himself for the love of Christ. He who desires ecstasies and visions does not know what he is desiring. 20. As for those who run after visions, dreams, and the like, we must lay hold of them by the feet and pull them to the ground by force, lest they should fall into the devil's net. When according to the rules of the fathers and ancient monks, whoever wishes to advance in perfection must hold the world in no reputation. For it is nothing more displeasing to God than our being inflated with self-esteem. When a man knows how to break down his own will and to deny his soul what it desires, he has got a good degree in virtue. When a man falls into any bodily infirmity, he must lie and think and say, God has sent me this sickness because he wishes something of me. I must therefore make up my mind to change my life and become better. When a man has a tribulation sent him from God and is impatient, we may say to him, you are not worthy that God should visit you. You do not deserve so great a good. Poverty and tribulations are given us by God as trials of our fidelity and virtue, as well as to enrich us with more real and lasting riches in heaven. Scruples ought to be most carefully avoided, as they disquiet the mind and make a man melancholy. Let us throw ourselves into the arms of God and be sure that if he wishes anything of us, he will make us good for all he desires us to do for him. Nothing helps a man more than prayer.
I figured you said that. Such good news.
Persons who live in the world should persevere in coming to church to hear sermons and remember to read spiritual books, especially the lives of the saints. When temptation comes, a man should remember the sweetnesses he has had in prayer at other times, and he will thus easily master the temptation. Spirituality is usually very great in the beginning, but afterwards the Lord fidgets along his hour, makes as though he would go farther. In such a case we must stand firm and not be disturbed, because God is then withdrawing his most holy hand of sweetnesses to see if we are strong, and then if we resist and overcome those tribulations and temptations, the sweetnesses and heavenly consolations return. We ought to apply ourselves to the acquisition of virtue, because in the end the whole terminates in greater sweetnesses than before, and the Lord gives us back all our favors and consolations double 5. It is easy to infuse the most fervent devotion into others, even in a short time, but the great matter is to persevere. He who continues in anger, strife, and a bitter spirit has a taste of the air of hell, 7 to obtain the protection of our blessed Lady in our most urgent wants. It is very useful to say 63 times after the passion of a rosary, Virgin Mary, Mother of God, pray to Jesus for me. Pray to Jesus for me. When we make this prayer to our blessed Lady, we give her every possible praise in the least possible compass, because we call her by her name of Mary, and give her those 2 great titles of Virgin and Mother of God, and the name Jesus, the fruit of her most pure womb. The things of this world do not remain constantly with us, for if we do not leave them before we actually die, in death at least we all infallibly depart as empty-handed as we came. Attend to pray well requires the whole man at 11. The discipline and other like things are not to be practiced without the leave of a confessor. He who does it of his own mind will either hurt his constitution or become proud, fancying to himself that he has done some great thing. 12. God takes a special delight in the humility of a man who believes that he has not yet begun to do any good. 13. Before going to confession and taking counsel with our director, it will be very useful to pray for a sincere goodwill to become a really holy man. 14. He who runs away from one cross will meet a bigger one on his
sick man set himself to reason with the devil, otherwise he will inevitably be taken in. Let him appeal to his ghostly father, of whom the devil stands in mortal fear. 17, he who serves God must do the best he cannot to receive the reward of his labors in this world. In giving alms to the poor, we must act as good ministers of the providence of God. 19, he who feels that the vice of avarice has got hold of him should not wish to observe passive supererogation. 20, perfection cannot be attained without the greatest toil. 21, as soon as we are stripped of the sordid garb of avarice, we shall be clothed with the royal and imperial vest of the opposite virtue, liberality. Even in the midst of the crowd, we can be going on to perfection. 23, not everything which is better in itself is better for each man in particular. 24, be devout to the Madonna, keep yourself from sin, and God will deliver you from your evils. 25, if we wish to keep peace with our neighbors, we should never remind anyone of his natural effects. We must sometimes bear with little defects in others, as we have against our own will to bear with natural defects in ourselves. 25, men of rank ought to treat like their equals and be accompanied by servants, as the state requires, but modesty should go along with it all. It all. We should not be quick at correcting others, but rather to think of ourselves first. Persons who live in the world should persevere in coming to church to hear sermons and remember to read spiritual books, especially the lives of the saints. When temptation comes, a man should remember the sweetnesses he has had in prayer at other times, and he will thus easily master the temptation. The fervor of spirituality is usually very great in the beginning, but afterwards the more thing is along your siren, makes as though we would go farther. In such a case we must stand firm and not be disturbed, because God is then withdrawing his most holy hand of sweetnesses to see if we are strong, and then if we resist and overcome those tribulations and temptations, the sweetnesses and heavenly consolations return. We ought to apply ourselves to the acquisition of virtue, because in the end the whole terminates in greater sweetnesses than before, and the Lord gives us back all our favors and consolations double 5. It is easy to infuse the most fervent devotion into others, even in a short time, but the great matter is to persevere. He who continues in anger, strife, and a bitter spirit has a taste of the air of hell, to obtain the protection of our Blessed Lady in our most certain wants. It is very useful to say 63 times, as the fashion of a rosary, Virgin Mary, Mother of God, pray to Jesus for me. When we make this prayer to our Blessed Lady, we give her every possible praise in the least possible compass, because we call her by her name of Maui, and give her those two great titles of Virgin and Mother of God, and the name Jesus, the fruit of her most pure womb. The things of this world do not remain constantly with us, for if we do not leave them before we actually die, in death at least we all infallibly depart as empty-handed as we came. To pray what requires the whole man. 11. The discipline and other like things are not to be practiced without the leave of our confessor. He who does it of his own mind will either hurt his constitution or become proud, fancying to himself that he has done some great thing. 12. God takes a special delight in the humility of a man who believes that he has not yet begun to do any good. 13. Before
going to confession or taking counsel with a director. It will be very useful to pray for a sincere goodwill to become a really holy man. 14. He who runs away from one cross will meet a bigger one on his road. 15. Christ died for sinners. We must take heart therefore and hope that paradise will be ours, provided only we repent of our sins and do good. 16. Never let a sick man set himself to reason with the devil. Otherwise he will inevitably be taken in. Let him appeal to his ghostly father, of whom the devil stands in mortal fear. 17. He who serves God must do the best he cannot to receive the reward of his labors in this world. 18. And giving alms to the poor, we must act as good ministers of the providence of God. 19. He who feels that the vice of avarice has got hold of him should not wish to observe fasts of supererogation, but to give alms. 20. Perfection cannot be attained without the greatest toil. 21. As soon as we are stripped of the sordid garb of avarice, we shall be clothed with the royal and imperial vest of the opposite virtue, liberality. Student in the midst of the crowd we can be, going on to perfection. 23. Not everything which is better in itself is better for each man in particular. 24. Be devout to the Madonna, keep yourself from sin, and God will deliver you from your evils. 25. If we wish to keep peace with our neighbors, we should never remind anyone of his natural defects. 26. We must sometimes bear with little defects in others, as we have against our own will to bear with natural defects in ourselves. 27. Men of rank ought to dress like their equals and be accompanied by servants, as their state requires, but modesty should go along with it all. 28. We should not be quick at correcting others, but rather to think of ourselves first. St. Peter and the other apostles and apostolical men, seeing the Son of God born in poverty and then living so absolutely without anything that he had not where to lay his head, and contemplating him dead and naked on a cross, stripped themselves also of all things and took the road of the evangelical counsels. Oh yeah. Nothing unites the soul to God more closely or breeds contempt of the world sooner than being harassed and distressed. In this life there is no purgatory. It is either hell or paradise. For to him who serves God truly, every trouble and infirmity turns into consolations. And through all kinds of trouble he has a paradise within himself, even in this world. better without taking grave counsel. 9, let everyone stay at home, that is, within himself, and sit in judgment on his own actions, without going abroad to investigate and criticize those of others. 10. On his own actions, without going abroad to investigate and criticize those of others. 10. True servants of God endure life and desire death. 11. There is not a finer thing on earth than to make a virtue of necessity. 12. To preserve our cheerfulness amid sicknesses and troubles is a sign of a right and good spirit. Of God, presuming on his being able to bear them. There should be the greatest possible caution in this matter, for he who bears what God sends him daily does not do a small thing. 14. They who have been exercised in the service of God for a long time imagine all sorts of insults offered to them, such as blows, wounds, and the like. So in order to imitate Christ by their charity, they accustom their hearts before him to forgive real injuries when they come. Let us think of Mary, for she is that unspeakable virgin, that glorious lady who conceived and brought forth without detriment to her virginity him whom the width of the heavens cannot contain within itself. The true servant of God acknowledges no other country but heaven. Then God infuses extraordinary sweetnesses into the soul. A man ought to prepare for some serious tribulation or temptation. When we have these extraordinary sweetnesses, we ought to ask of God fortitude to bear whatever he may please to send us, and then to stand very much upon our guard, because there is danger of sin behind. Yeah. One of the most excellent means of obtaining perseverance is discretion. You must not wish to do everything at once, or become a saint in 4 days. 20 in our clothes we are, like S. Bernard, to love poverty, but not filthiness. 21, he who wishes to advance in spirituality should never slur over his defects negligently, without particular examination of conscience, even independent of the time of sacramental confession. 22, a man should not so attach himself to the means as to forget the end. Neither must we give ourselves so much to mortify the flesh as to forget to mortify the brain, which is the chief thing after all. 23, we ought to desire the virtues of prelates, cardinals, and popes, but not their dignities. 24, the skin of self-love is fastened strongly on our hearts, and it hurts us to flay it off, and the more we get down to the quick, the more apostles, an apostolical man. Seeing the Son of God, born in poverty, and then living so absolutely without anything, that he had not where to lay his head, and contemplating him dead, and naked on a cross, stripped themselves also of all things, and took the road of the evangelical counsels. To nothing unite the soul to God more closely, and breeds contempt of the world sooner than being harassed and distressed. In this life there is no purgatory. It is either hell or paradise. For to him who serves God truly, every trouble and infirmity turns into consolations, and through all kinds of trouble he has a paradise within himself, even in this world. And he who does not serve God truly and gives himself up to sensuality has one hell in this world and another in the next, to get good from reading the lives of the saints and other spiritual books we ought not to read out of curiosity or skimmingly, but with pauses. And when we feel ourselves warmed, we ought not to pass on, but to stop and follow up the spirit which is stirring in us. And when we feel it no longer, then to pursue our reading, far to begin and end well. Devotion to our Blessed Lady, the Mother of God, is nothing less than indispensable. We have no time to go to sleep here, for paradise was not made for poltroons. We must have confidence in God, who is what he always has been. And we must not be disheartened because things turn out contrary to us. Amen should not change from a good state of life to another, although it may be better without taking grave counsel. Grave counsel. Grave counsel. Let everyone stay at home, that is, within himself, and sit in judgment on his own actions, without going abroad to investigate and criticize those of others. Till the true servants of God endure life and desire death in heaven. There is not a finer thing on earth than to make a virtue of necessity. 12 to preserve our cheerfulness amid sicknesses and troubles is a sign of a right and good spirit. A man should not ask tribulations of God, presuming on his being able to bear them. There should be the greatest possible caution in this matter, for he who bears what God sends him daily does not do a small thing. They who have been exercised in the service of God for a long time may in their prayers imagine all sorts of insults offered to them, such as blows, wounds, and the like, and so in order to imitate Christ by their charity, may accustom their hearts beforehand to forgive real injuries when they come. 15. Let us think of Mary, for she is that unspeakable virgin, the glorious lady, who conceived and brought forth, without detriment to her virginity, him whom the width of the heavens cannot contain within itself. Cannot contain within itself. Cannot contain within itself. The true servant of God acknowledges no other country but heaven. 17. When God infuses extraordinary sweetnesses into the soul, a man ought to prepare for some serious tribulation or temptation. 18. When we have these extraordinary sweetnesses, we ought to ask of God fortitude to bear whatever he may please to send us, and then to stand very much upon our guard, because there is danger of sin behind. 19. One of the most excellent means of obtaining perseverance is discretion. We must not wish to do everything at once, or become a saint in 4 days. 20. In our clothes we ought, like Esper, not to love poverty, but not filthiness. 21. He who wishes to advance in spirituality should never slur over his defects, negligently without particular examination of conscience, even independent of the time the end. Neither must we give ourselves so much to mortify the flesh as to forget to mortify the brain, which is the chief thing after all. 20 rock! We ought to desire the virtues of prelates, cardinals, and popes, but not their dignities. The skin of self-love is fastened strongly on our hearts, and it hurts us to flay it off. And the more we get down to the quick, the more keen and difficult it is. 25. This first step, which we ought to have taken of ourselves already, we have always in our mind, yet never put it in execution. 20 work. A man ought to set about putting his good resolutions in practice and not change them lightly. We must not omit our ordinary devotions for every trifling occasion that may come in the way, such as going to confession on our fixed days, and particularly hearing mass on weekdays. If we wish to go out walking or anything of that sort, let us make our confession and perform our usual exercises first, and then go. It is very useful for those who minister the word of God or give themselves up to prayer to read the works of authors whose names begin with S, such as St. Augustine, St. Bernard, and Saint. 21! Nothing more glorious can happen to a Christian than to suffer for Christ. We ought to make no account of abstinences and fasts when there is self-will in the matter. To our Blessed Lady is the dispenser of all the favors which the goodness of God concedes to the sons of Adam. In seeking for counsel it is necessary sometimes to hear what our inferiors think and to recommend ourselves to their prayers. A man ought never to say one word in his own praise, however true it may be, no, not even in a joking way. Whenever we do a good work and somebody else takes the credit of it, we ought to rejoice and acknowledge it as a gift from God. Anyhow, we ought not to be sorry, because if others diminish our glory before men, we shall recover it with all the more honor before God. Let us pray God, if He gives us any virtue or any gift, to keep it hidden even from ourselves, that we may preserve our humility and not take occasion of pride because of it. We ought not to publish or manifest to everyone the inspirations which God sends us, or the favors He grants us. Secretum mel me. In order to avoid all risk of vainglory, we ought to make some of our particular devotions in our own rooms and never seek for sweetnesses and sensible consolation in public places. 9. The true medicine to cure us of pride is to keep down and thwart touchiness of mind. When a man is reproved for anything, he ought not to take it too much to heart, for we commit a greater fault by our sadness than by the sin for which we are approved. They who, when they have got a little devotion, think they are some great ones, are only fit to be laughed at. 12. Humility is the true guardian of chastity. When a man is fallen, he ought to acknowledge it in some such way as this. If I had been humble, I should not have fallen. We ought to be pleased to hear that others are advancing in the service of God, especially if they are our relations or friends, and we ought to rejoice that they share in whatever spiritual good we may have ourselves, in order the better to gain souls and visiting the sick. We ought to imagine
that what we do for the sick man we are doing for Christ himself. We shall thus perform this work of mercy with more love and greater spiritual profit. He whose health will not permit him to fast in honor of Christ.
Each time you'll learn something new, right? With each relationship. So it's a beautiful thing that two people came together and they don't really know what they're doing. They're not really prepared, but they loved each other and they learned from one another, and then they go their separate ways. It doesn't mean that it failed, right? It was just temporary, and it sounds successful. Because I'll tell you, a lot of people, it's one relationship where they resent each other when they break up after another. They're like, oh, I hated that person. They don't even see that they were their place in the problems, right? So, again, there are ways in which you are ahead for your age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's like, I have had the comment before that people say that, you know, that my age still allowed me to keep my youth, even though I matured my brain. But in general, yeah, I mean, just really, I guess really the way I see it, like I say, is that I see that I have $70K in student debt that I have right now. And what's worst part about it is that I have to start paying by the end of next year. And for federal loans, even though you can get deferred payments that you make for your loans, my private loans don't necessarily offer the same grace. So
you deal with it when you come to it, right? And you don't get yourself bogged down in the future, because you don't live in the future, you live in the present, right? It doesn't require your attention right now. And focus on the things that do require your attention, okay?
Well, that's what I'm doing right now, is that the thing is that I can't, it's all contingent upon me finishing up school. And, you know, I'm almost dead dog broke, and I can't get a job. And I've always struggled with employment.
Okay, deep breath here. You know, the problem, it sounds like you might be dealing with anxiety. Okay, I know that sounds weird. Did I mention I'm neurodivergent? But anyways, it sounds like you might be dealing with anxiety. And anxiety is fear, but it's a special kind of fear. It's fear of what might happen in the future. And it's great because it's there to protect you. But right now it's screwing you big time, because being this anxious is making it hard to concentrate on finishing your school. Yeah?
Well, I think what the worst thing about it is the fact that I've done, the right thing, and it's gotten me nothing.
Okay. Yeah, been there, done that. Not that you need to know that, but yeah, who cares if everybody else is doing that too? Not helpful. Yeah.
It's just like look at, specifically everybody else, like, people in my family have not worked as hard as I have, and they get everything handed to them in spite of them not having any sort of neurodivergence whatsoever.
Well, my mom's also neurodivergent, and she literally rammed a police car and got thrown in jail. And I can't tell you how good things are for her. It makes me nothing but unhappy. It's just, there's a lot of unfairness going around, and it isn't just because someone is neurodivergent or unneurodivergent. Again,
I just will say, you don't have to worry about me doing harm to anybody else.
Of course.
In my dark moments,
Don't ram police cars. That's a really bad idea.
No, I wouldn't do something that stupid.
My mom thought she was doing the right thing. That wasn't.
It's not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Really, just in general, though. I have thought about doing things like when I'm driving home.
I see.
A few months ago, I was I almost thought about driving into a lake one time.
Yeah, don't do that either.
But
you might not believe me now, but Sorry, you might not believe me now, right? But everything that makes you different and makes it a fucking struggle is what will make you great, right? We only grow through strife, and some people, their lives are so lackadaisy, they never grow. I think you look at people in your family, you don't even want to be them because it lacks substance, right? So if you can endure, as a neurodivergent person, you get a perspective on the world that most people don't, right? And you've got to extract from that something that you can bring to the world, right? Because there's people out there that need you. You don't see it yet, right? I didn't see it. I didn't see how all the time people would say that I was wasting time doing graphic design and stuff just on my own for no reason. And then or doing lots of research or debating on the internet, all these waste of time things, right? And then I started my business, right? Or even just put the application in. Suddenly I've got protesters writing letters to my council, and I've got to refute all of their bullshit. And I was good at it. Because when I was younger, I spent time on the internet debating with randomers. And then I got my license. And then I didn't have to pay anybody to do any of my graphic designs, not my logos, not my leaflet, not anything. Because I could fucking do it, right? I didn't see that coming, right? And you won't see how the things unique to you will be utilized in the future.
So Marcos has a really good point that, Marcos, I don't think you really realize something about what you're saying, but what you're saying is, hey, I started my own business. I controlled what I was doing. I controlled my time. I controlled what I did. I didn't have to answer to anybody. Oh, okay, I think you did say that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people who are neurodivergent, find starting their own business to be the best way to get about things. And I know that's hard. But if you have an idea that nobody else has come up with yet, I don't know, give it a thought.
I know a guy who started a business picking up people's dog shit from the gardens because they didn't want to do it.
I heard about that guy.
Right? Well, I don't know. This is somebody local to me. Right? But my point is it's nothing startup. You just got to find something, and it's better if it's unattractive.
He started a company. He hires people to do this all over the place.
Yeah, that's it. Then you need to expand.
By the way, I don't know if you've seen this mountain guy in the chat. I don't know if I should bring him up.
Well, Necro, I just trying to say what's up to you, buddy, and trying to get a whiff of the conversation. I hope you're doing well. I see the title. I don't know if it's hyperbolic or, that's a serious situation. But, just trying to get a gist of what's going on.
Basically, a lot of stuff. I mean, I was explaining about how I was dealing with family, like, recently that just happened, but it's just been a lot of things with me not being able to finish school and to have enough money for school and trying to get a fucking job and, just also just having family that just constantly bullies me and then potentially may kick me out of the house. So
it's a lot of bullshit that's just all coming together all at once, right?
Yeah.
And something like that's important for you to know is you don't have to understand everything right now, right? Sometimes our minds are trying to put everything together, we don't understand everything that's going on. And sometimes you just need to release that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And use your energy in better places.
Yeah.
Which is a hard thing to tell by a neurodivergent person, right? I know, because I've been through that shit.
Yeah. I don't know about some of these people in the chat. I don't know if I can trust people like Mountain.
I don't know what to. Hi, folks. I'm suspicious of everybody. See, I can get your back on there.
Comments like this guy's been talking about stress for the last hour. You neurodivergent.
Can you get rid of him?
Yeah, Mountain. I'm not sure what you mean by this. Like, explain what is it? Why do you address me as you neurodivergent? Like, do you have a problem? Well, I'm not going to bring you up, Mountain, because I don't think that, and I'm not convinced that you're a person I should bring up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because he has... Sorry.
I just say one thing. Mountain, if you can explain why you address me as you neurodivergent, then I may let you up.
No, that's troll. That guy's a troll. Right there. I might not know much, but that guy's a troll.
Yeah. Well, I just want to know what he meant by that ultimately before I kick him, so...
You don't really, the thing with people like that, his internal world works very differently to yours, right? And you don't need to fucking understand it. You see that it's fucking bullshit. The only reason people need to put you down is because they feel less than, right? People that are completely confident and content they don't have a motivation to put other people down, right? Only people that are fucking miserable and shit seek out to give people fucking trouble, right? That's a him.
I agree.
Yeah, I just removed him, because...
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the frustrating thing, with somebody like you, Necro, who sees through human beings' emotional baggage and bullshit, right, and sees them illogical, right? That's a fucking gift. You know what I mean? You see the shit that they don't see. And you can take these things into consideration for what you would be good at, right, in a career, right? Somebody who doesn't get caught up in, narratives and bullshit, propaganda.
So someone who can see, I don't know who you are, Daniel, no. Yeah, so someone who can see the bullshit coming and head it off. That's what you're saying.
Through it, just ignore it and cut through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate assessment of Daniel, a guy who sees the bullshit.
I just wanted to make a brief comment. It's like when I've listened to Necro for years, and just when I hear a voice like his, I feel like less crazy, less weird, and just affirmed. So I love your voice, and when I say voice, I mean like what you have to say and your take, your perspective, and because it's not an ordinary take. That's what I feel when I hear from you. It's just, I'm not alone, or I'm not weird in some ways. So I don't know what else to say. I mean, there's a lot to say about you, but I hope you feel better, man, and I hope that I get to hear more of you. That's all.
Thanks.
You know, Daniel, you just brought up something really cool that I hadn't thought about. Necro, do you belong to any houses that, have, are specific to your neurodivergence? Because I find it, has been super helpful for me to be in that. I mean, it can be hard.
So there's a guy, his name is Christian Hill. I don't know if you know his name.
No, I've never heard of him.
Okay. He runs a thing called Ask the Autistic. He runs rooms like that, but I gotta say I haven't going into his rooms because I usually sleeping on Sundays, so.
Yeah, I don't know why, but my groups, I've been having trouble finding them lately. I don't think my peeps have been posting. Such a lazy person. I could post my own, start my own rooms. And the nice thing about posting your own room or opening your own room is that I could immediately smack someone down like Mountain as soon as I felt like it. And I could set things up at the times that are convenient for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and forgive me, I just, the reason I, let people up is because I want to just, humor them mainly.
You gotta be careful. I mean, I personally have learned to be careful because if I let people up, I actually, okay, this is why I'm in this atheist room here, because I actually founded an atheist group in the city that I'm in. So, and more than one, actually, a couple of them. So I've had to deal with in-person trolls who have given me trouble, and I got to tell you, getting an in-person person out of the room is not easy. So, and of course, as you've known, if you're dealing with someone who's not respecting you in person, it's emotionally draining. It takes something out of you, that you go home and you think about that interaction for days. And I do not want to deal with that in this virtual environment. It's so easy to avoid it if possible. I know it might sound, bad to want to screen people like that, but I'm over it. I don't feel I have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. For a while, I thought about deleting my Clubhouse account because I was dealing with a lot of negativity in rooms that I went into, but it's like there's nothing so powerful as realizing that you can always leave whatever room that's
You can have virtual boundaries too. I loved that he said something about boundaries. Loved it.
Well, I think one of the things though, really I can't get over is the fact that you've literally have had people in recorded rooms who have actually encouraged me to commit suicide.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you've got your own room here.
Yeah, well, the thing is that it goes against Clubhouse's TOS, and the fact is Clubhouse has still not removed those people who have repeatedly told me on recording, told me to kill myself.
Nice.
And I mean, it's just in general, not that it's not something I've used to. I mean, when I was a freshman in high school, I was constantly told that, I was going to grow up to molest children, that I was going to become a rapist was something that I was told when I was in freshman year of high school, repeatedly.
Damn, the worst thing we did to each other was stick maxi pads with like red, food coloring on them to people's lockers. I mean, things have really gotten dark.
Yeah, well, I only suffered from it because I'm, as a guy that's an easy target, mainly. If you're an easy target, you usually do the worst. So.
Ed, I don't like this. I don't like hearing that people are doing this to each other. I don't know. Is this a new thing? High school and college were a long term ago.
So, I don't know how old you are, but...
Old. Really old.
But what age gap?
I don't...
Are you a millennial, or are you
I don't know what I am. I'm 55 years old.
Oh, really? You're that old?
Yeah, I'm an oldster. It's funny. Yeah. I'm an oldster taking care of oldsters. I tell you, the money's good.
Oh, well, it's interesting. I actually thought you were around my age, believe it or not.
It's, like the whole neurodivergent thing. I mean, it took a very long time to mature, and probably haven't yet.
You just sound like you sound like a lot of my friends who are me, who are illustration majors. You have kind of like that voice.
Like a cartoon? Are you saying I have a cartoon voice?
No, you have more of a narration voice, those of people who are animators. Those talking heads that animators do on YouTube videos.
I'm better than those.
You have kind of the twang they do ultimately.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks. That might be part of it. But also, my roommate is 24 years old, and I just do better with people who are younger than me. People who are my peers, they've had lives. They have children that have just graduated from college. They've, they're about to, retire, and they haven't been, fired constantly. I mean, seriously, my life has been shit. And getting kicked out of school was really the cherry on the cake.
Yeah. Which you didn't get kicked out of high school though, right?
No. I graduated from high school and college fine, but right about the time I turned 28, right about 28. So I'm not autistic. I just kind of had tinges of it. A lot of my friends are autistic. Around 28, things went downhill for me mentally.
Oh.
And yeah, so no, but I mean, God, I cannot forgive people who have been telling you to kill yourself. I mean,
yeah, I take it really seriously as well. I mean,
people do. They do kill themselves. They get taunted into doing it, and that's just evil.
I think it's even more fucked up than just killing them mainly.
Yeah.
I mean, actively, trying to, drive somebody into their own death, making them feel more miserable until they eventually kill themselves. That sounds to me more fucked up.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, the only thing that I can think of is to set maybe, unreasonable sounding boundaries. It's like, I'm not going to deal with you ever.
Yeah.
I'm lucky, I guess. I've never had to deal with that. I mean, I just wasn't young enough.
I mean, I guess it's really more of a man thing, maybe, like that guys go through. It's just,
oh, no. No guys were going through that when I was in high school. I would have heard about it.
I gotcha. Well, I mean, back then, usually they just had the classic way of bullying people by, they didn't have things like the internet, or it was very primitive, so.
You want to know what they did to the guys that were in high school when I was in high school? Because it's kind of funny.
Freshman hunt.
No, it was so much worse. But not as bad. Not as bad as now.
Texas wedgie.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I give up.
Okay. So, they took this poor guy. It was unfair to pick on him. Okay, and I know I'm laughing, and I shouldn't, because it shouldn't be funny, but I went to an all-girls school, and so they took this little guy, and they brought him to our school, and they tied him to a pole. He had blindfold on, and right before they left, they took his blindfold off, and he's like, help, I went, Loretto, because what could be more embarrassing than taking someone to an all-girls school and tying them up? I mean, that's mean. That's just really mean. But
at least they kept him clothed, right?
Oh yeah, but okay, okay. It's funny you mention this. These guys did things to themselves that were stupid. I was on the girls' swim team, and we didn't have a pool, so we had to go to the boys' pool to swim at their school. And one day, all the girls at my school started screaming, and they're like, go to the window. So we go to the window, and we see these guys with bags on their heads running around the school, stark naked. Okay? So I'm like, we see you in those teeny weeny bathing suits all the time. Do you really think we don't? Yeah, do you really think we don't know who you are? I mean, just because you're not wearing the Speedo.
No, I got what you said, teeny weeny.
Yes. Yeah, that too.
Did they really have small dicks?
Of course they did. It was cold.
Gotcha.
No, it gets better though. Okay, so it's an all-girls school. We had nuns. And they're wearing freaking bags over their heads.
That was really a long and hard feeling, right?
Pardon me, what?
That was really a long and hard feeling you got there.
Okay. So we had nuns, and there was a getaway car in the back parking lot, and there was a gate. Okay, and so the guy had to climb over. There was this one guy. He had to climb over the gate to get to the getaway car with the bag on his head. Well, he couldn't see very well with the bag on his head, so instead of going over the gate, he went into the tennis court, and the wall on the tennis court was much, much higher than the one on the gate. So here he is, climbing as fast as he can, up to like about one story, with the nuns staring at his naked ass the entire time. And of course he had to climb down because he couldn't make it. But I mean, I heard about that, and everybody was laughing like crazy. And of course, it was, for them it was bad. For us, it was an afternoon of entertainment. I mean, what were they thinking, that we were going to be emotionally scarred by their teeny weenies? No.
Yeah.
We were just going to mock them the next time we saw them at the pool.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting though. It's like, I mean, I've like my dark moments where I, laughed at stuff that should not have been funny. Like when I was hearing somebody tell the story about their grandfather who had Alzheimer's. He was somebody who disappeared for a long time, but all of a sudden, apparently, they found out about how, they get a call from Home Depot, from Kmart, asking him, says, hey, I think it does want to know if you know this man, and they gave him his name specifically. Yeah, and he's like, why? He's like, yeah, I think we found your grandfather. It was like, guess what? Like, what happened? They told him and said that he was somebody who was apparently was gone to Kmart and had his all of his clothes taken off. And,
oh dear!
Like basically, his pants were around his ankles, and the store manager was yelling at him the entire time to get out of Kmart.
Oh, not very helpful.
Yeah, it was really difficult for me to not laugh at that, hearing that story. But I felt like I was going to hell so bad. for thinking it was funny, but
you do have to laugh sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, for example, I used to watch. There's a guy on the Amazing Racist, and he did videos where he there were things that should not be funny, and I said, for example, when he was going around a KKK outfit, I was like, beat his ass. How has nobody murdered this guy? I think I just love the guy's reaction. He was in the gas station. He's asking when he's asking, because he brings in a cross, of course, and he asks him specifically. He's his reaction. He's like, step out of here. He's like, are you fucking joking, bro? And then he goes to cleaners to try to get his uniform cleaned. And the guy's like, come on, Mr. Cleaner, clean this shit. And he's like, you want to take this outside, bro? But yeah, it was just really, it was something that should not be hilarious. I just wondered, like I said, how he didn't get murdered. But yeah, as far as pranks go, I've done my fair share of pranks on my exes. And they've done their, naughty prank. They did this prank on me one time where they made me think that they cut my dick off.
Okay, that's not a good prank. I already don't like it.
Yeah, it's something that emotionally scarred me. But, she got me good, though.
You did say the word X. Yes, you did.
Yes.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
On the subject of exes, I know that Malcolm, that was his name, right? Malcolm? On the subject of exes, I've had, if you find the right person, I'm going to give you a tip that I wish I'd had previously when I was younger. If you like a person's friends, they're probably going to be a good person. If you don't like their friends, they're going to be a problem. And I only came up with this tip, after I'd gone through 3 evil exes. And the last 2 exes that I've had were good people. One of them, we were always going to break up. And he was just a different sort of person. But we were friendly. And the other one, I just delivered Christmas presents to him this morning. So...
Yeah. I think Malcolm X, he definitely was a person who resonated with me. He's essentially kind of, the philosophy I got, where it's specifically how to stand up to people who have, always had all the power.
He's good.
Yeah.
He said the things I wish I could have said.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say him, I'd also say it's interesting. There's I don't know if you've ever, How to Honduras or Che Guevara, but I'd recommend watching his UN speech that he gave.
Che Guevara?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was one of, probably one of the best speeches I felt in critic people who had critical of U.S. Particularly.
Mm-hmm.
One of the points he made about how specifically how they call themselves land of the free, and yet it's normal for black people when they have a loved one that dies and they protest and they get killed.
Yeah.
It's a point that he made specifically. Che Guevara is a guy who to me I have, to me it's like people can take however they feel about their views about what he stood for, but to me I think he stood for a cause that wasn't just Marxism particularly. I could see the humanity in him ultimately. Is what I saw.
It is interesting. I mean, I'm not a particularly political person, and despite how much my roommate tries to get me interested, and I feel that this is a weakness in myself, along with the fact that I don't know anything about team sports like football or soccer. More serious than football or soccer. Just saying.
With politics, I just like to know about it so that way I can make fun of everybody. Particularly because I like to take the equal opportunity to make everybody pissed off, pretty much.
That's not necessarily a good way of going about things. I feel that knowing.
What I mean is to me, maybe not to piss everybody off, but to specifically show that I'm not on anybody's side, really.
My roommate, she's fucking brilliant. My roommate likes to say I'm more informed and more able to debate anyone, and I'm more informed and can out-debate anyone. So don't try me. So that's the way she puts about it. She's not out to piss anyone off. She's like, I am going to firmly defend the truth. That's what's going on. And she's don't mess with her. Jesus.
Yeah. Really, it's just, if there's any side I'm on the side that specifically is sick of everything, really. That's what I stand for. Because, I think really, it's why I'm fond of, The Daily Show, ultimately.
Yeah, she goes into things deeper.
I can't stand to watch, CBS or, any of your main, liberal media outlets. I do see benefits to watching Fox News, not because, I disagree with Fox News probably more than I disagree with anything, but, to me, I do see benefits to it because of the fact that,